Hey guys, and welcome to part one to what if Kurama was a girl slash female, and for those that have either been, somewhat been subscribed for a while, or you guys have, watched me for a while, and or you just explored some of the channel and have seen this somewhat, or at least a what if named exactly the same, which was somewhat a what if I did about 3 years ago, and I figured that is maybe about time I kind of redid it. Why not? I've done somewhat one, I think what if Naruto was female, I think I've done that at least every, once a year. And I just figured that it was about time I did this. After somewhat 3 years, nearly 4, or going on 4. Anyway, so yes, somewhat like kind of what if Naruto's female? Nothing would technically change if Kurama was just a female. Nothing technically, or at least wouldn't potentially necessarily change. So maybe a few things here or there, but nothing really. So of course, it's my what if, so of course things are definitely going to change. One of those being is that Kurama would have a human form as being something female, the female sort of fox, and seeing somewhat how similarly early humans were similarly sort of attracted, or well, not early humans, but humans were similarly attracted by, sexy people and that, sexy females, and that had, figured that, to kind of get back at them, seen her as the demon fox, that she could, somewhat kind of, somewhat seduce them, and that, thus kind of somewhat reinforcing slash potentially creating the, somewhat kind of dream or that, or some story like somewhat like foxes, or at least kitsune were like mysterious creatures that could shapeshift and would allure men, would transform into beautiful women and lure them away, yeah, though of course somewhat that's the sort of where things would really start to change would be around the sort of time, or at least when Naruto would first meet her. Pretty much during the preliminary, or at least between the 1 month period between the preliminaries of the tuning exams and the final part of the tuning exams. Between that, when so after about a week, of sort of having enough from Naruto, after a week of trying and failing, or about a week of trying and failing to teach Naruto to properly summon toads, it'd flick him off the somewhat side of the whatever, sort of flick him into a canyon, a spiked ravine, not canyon, spiked ravine, as he'd sort of fall, and of course would enter into his mind. Yeah, though there would be one, or at least that would be a slight body change, slight. That would be maybe skin can maybe not being as tanned as it is, simply because of somewhat, of course, while with Kurama's chakra mixing with Naruto's, something is going to slightly change. So is he's going to have a higher healing rate, or the same as in canon. And that the I at least think besides from that, and a large chakras have, again, he would have the exact same chakras as he did in canon. And it's somewhat, though, it's that surely more things would change, like his hair color and maybe facial, like body figure. So with Kurama being female, and all his body figure would be slightly more feminine, so wide hips, thicker, calves and that. And yeah, though, and also a slight, somewhat a slight small bump to his chest, enough that it kind of annoying. It's somewhat kind of causing, well, he's not really cause him, but just him being slightly kind of annoyed or not. Yeah, somewhat annoyed as, other, boys his age were, granted, they were somewhat older, but still, they were, flat, and he had a slight bump to his chest. It was slightly annoying as, bump to his chest. He saw it as, grown best, that what, a girl has, and he's, a boy. And yeah, anyway, that physically changed, and also his hair maybe, but I'm not so sure with his hair. Would you guys like his hair being slightly more on the orange side, just like a kind of dull, like not as, instead of being, like yellow pretty much, it'd be kind of like a slightly dull blonde, slightly, going into either somewhat orange, or or would you rather somewhat have it where his, somewhat instead his, somewhat has maybe a small like red streak in it, like it's not really visible, but it's a small red streak within his hair. You guys tell me in the comments down below which one you want. Yeah, anyway. So as I was saying, Naruto would something, of course, wake up, he'd, open his eyes, and he'd be, in his mind, he'd be kind of confused. He'd look around when he'd hear a somewhat kind of, in my mind, so I can hear, somewhat voice being kind of somewhat, soft and beautiful, but slightly more, well, yeah, kind of soft and something beautiful sounding, in a way. It's, so what she'd say. So, my Cherokee is. So, my jailer has finally somewhat showed his face, huh? He's finally come to visit me. Naruto would sort of snap his eyes down, or at least in front of him, to the giant bars, and through the eyes he'd go, no. He'd go, nine tails? As he'd be completely just shocked, confused, and astounded that the nine-tailed fox was a beautiful woman with, red hair, pretty much what you kind of, see in the thumbnail. Red hair, two foxes adorn her head and nine tails behind her. Kind of kitsune former, to pretty much, well, she, all his style human form was just that without the foxes and tails. Yeah, the only reason why she had them out was somewhat comfortable, and, the cage was more comfortable being smaller than it was being large. Yeah, it was tiny when she was large, and being same size as a human, in adult form was somewhat nice because it gave a lot more room to walk about through. That and, yeah. Though she still couldn't seemingly walk past the bars, as the bars were seemingly like she just couldn't walk through. Whatever reason, there was like a barrier there. So, yeah. Anyway, and yeah, so seeing, you couldn't believe it, and yeah, and she'd somewhat kind of somewhat seductively say, "Oh, you like what you see then, huh?" To which Naruto would kind of somewhat, he'd snap himself somewhat out, though, by going somewhat bright, kind of red, and no. He'd somewhat look away, to which he'd somewhat, chuckle at. And yeah, though, and though her voice would then somewhat, she'd somewhat come down for it, somewhat chuckles. She'd go, "Now, what do you want?" It's Naruto would somewhat send a kind of shiver down his somewhat voice, the similarly power, somewhat her voice just had from similarly, almost similarly, nothing and careless to almost, raw, power, somewhat, pure raw and adulterated power. And yeah, which caused him to somewhat almost slightly walk back. And yeah, almost take a step back. Yeah, you'd go, well, it's he'd somewhat stumble out that, it's about time, somewhat you pay me rent. Yeah, to which she just somewhat would start him, and yeah, and she'd somewhat say something that, kind of the, canon Kurama, or at least if canon Kurama did it, probably changed how they interacted completely. And yeah, to which she'd simply say something, she'd just sort of start him and why do you want my sort of chakra? Yeah, as he'd, say that slowly, he'd, go, well, so I just need it. She'd just start him watch his summon the, sort of toad. Do realise you could do that without my chakra. So I did just start her and he'd go, no, yes you can. You can make over 1,000 shadow clones. Not would go so. She'd start him. She'd always think about just giving him the chakra and getting him, just away from her, but yeah, after all, she'd want a freedom, but at the same time, didn't exactly want, to just throw him her chakra, so. And she knew that Naruto was far from stupid and that he was smart. It was why, he seemed unpredictable, and that was because he was just simply smart when he used his brain. Yeah, he was smarter than any Naruto could be. It was just he didn't know how to utilize his actual brain power. Yeah. Anyway, so she just somewhat low. She just signed. She'd go, look, Naruto, look, brat. Sort a Jonin. Sort can safely make one shadow clone. And go, wait, one? Then yes, that would mean you have 1,000 times that chakra reserves. And yeah, you can do it without my chakra. Now, do you understand? Naruto just couldn't believe so much. Not, but you've been doing it wrong. Though you probably do it right now that your life's on the line. Slightly cold, though it seemed like she was maybe right, but and somewhat, if anything, you have 100 somewhat times that of your sensei. Not your current one. Your team, your somewhat teams, or somewhat deep team, you're somewhat that Kakashi brat. You've got about 100 times that of his chakra. It's not to go wide out, really. Though, due to the seal, it is about restricting your reserves to about, say that about 10 or so times that of his strength, of his reserves, though. Yeah, though, it's saying that he could, he's got to remember, oh, right, remembering that, he's got Sharingan and yeah. Though, then again, if you didn't have me, your reserves would probably be about 50%. Then again, it would probably be about the same, actually. No, it'd probably be about 50 times that. About 50 times greater than Kakashi Sensei's chakra reserves. Maybe 25. I've been selling inside of you since you was born. As such, my chakra's been slowly leaking into you, mixing with yours, increasing, of course, your healing ability and also your reserves. Naruto would just somewhat nod. Now then, Naruto would So though, as the silence would fall upon them for a few seconds, Naruto would kind of enter into a roundabout, somewhat drier and, or at least, well, yeah, something seemingly, the private sage, wanting them to, use the fox's chakra and all. And, yeah, those who just somewhat stare at him, and so a few similar seconds would go by. Should find out enough, it should go, so have you forgotten, why you was kind of in your mind in the first place? Now to stop, you'd look at her, you'd go to say something when you'd somewhat actually realise and go, damn it, I need to get, how do I somewhat believe? As she'd simply look at him and would tell him to come closer. You'd stare at her and she'd just stare back and you'd begrudgingly walk closer and closer up until eventually she'd simply flick him in the forehead, to which he'd snap open his eyes and he'd lie somewhat yell. And falling as he'd then proceed to bite his thumb and go through it and proceed to summon Gamma Binto with only his chakra. After all, we know he can do it by himself. Yeah. Anyway though, from there, Gamma Binto, yeah, why have you summoned me here? To which Dry would kind of go pale. As he'd, go and hide, and of course, so, due to the fact that Naruto didn't use Kurama's chakra to summon Gamma Binto, then something he would have just, instead of, of course, passing out like he did and kind of failing, staying on, Gamma Binto, he would instead kind of just barely successfully stay on Gamma Binto, thus Gamma Binto accepting him as a summoner of the Toad Summon contract. And from there, or at least somewhat, from there, or at least they would, go, probably separate all that for the day. But yeah, as it would somewhat be night, and after kind of, somewhat, after somewhat having, then it'd go maybe a quick bath and then straight to bed. Yeah, though I would somewhat close eyes and to go to sleep, he'd end up opening them again, looking around confused. Why was he back here? And he'd just stare at, after kind of being sort of confused and staring at the fox, which he was just staring back, and after he'd go, why am I back here again? To which she'd simply say that she'd brought him in, here, to which she'd sort of go, damn it, I'm tired. She'd sort of shrug and she'd go, well, she'd sort of shrug, so, though, she'd go, well, guess if you listen to me for about, say, an hour or two, I'd somewhat let you have such a nice deep sleep that I'll somewhat let you have such a nice sleep that if you somewhat, say, deal with me for at least an hour, right, then I'll give you a sleep so great, a somewhat sleep that, a sleep quality you've never had before. And Naruto just kind of sigh. Somewhat, all that he knew was that he'd get sleep after an hour or so. So he'd just somewhat nod. And, though he'd ask, why she'd brought him in here, to which she'd sort of say that, well, I can't put you in there because I'm not just gonna have a stupid jerky. Now to go, hey, I know you're not stupid, you dumb. Now to just somewhat send a kind of slight glare and he'd grumble that he wasn't stupid nor dumb, and she'd go, oh, I very much know you're smart, Naruto. You just simply don't. You just simply because you've skipped out of the academy and that, or at least no, due to the fact you tended to skip out of the academy and or not listen, you're dumb. That's why. And I'm not going to have a dumb or stupid Jinchuriki, nor am I going to have a weak one. And so from there, Kurama would pretty much become somewhat a kind of teacher, teaching them about somewhat shinobi, his kind of somewhat shinobi history that the academy taught, and through somewhat the week, which would, and they would also maybe slightly spar as well. And though it all end up coming to a somewhat enough with somewhat, or at least dry as the week would, as a week would go by. That's been 2 weeks since since the start of the 1 month training period, as Naruto would finally have enough of Jiraiya, since he'd gotten the Toad Summon contract, or at least being able to summon Bunta and that. That Jiraiya had just, while it was the first sort of day he'd ran through the other summon toads and that, getting to kind of know them and that. Besides from somewhat that, Jiraiya then kind of kept on mentioning and kind of trying to push him into you pulling on the Fox's chakra, using the Fox's chakra to train in the Fox's chakra, and he'd just finally have enough and him that he was going to get stronger using his own damn, somewhat strength, and that he wasn't going to use the Fox's chakra at all. And of course, they would end up having an argument, and Naruto would storm away, just kind of fed up, angry, with someone drier, as he didn't know how many times he repeated himself that he just wanted to get stronger by somewhat by his own hands. And of course somewhat. And so somewhat though, as Naruto would quite storm away, Kurama would simply tell him that, I guess you can go to the library. That would kind of go and grumble, or at least would grumble why I kind of want to go there. Well, let's see. What do you know about somewhat this Neji Hyuga person? And I'm not going to learn anything from him in the library. True, but his clan, on the other hand, you will. And what you learn about his clan, you can apply to, of course, him. Now, can't you? That would slightly, would somewhat go right. Yeah, I guess. You guess? Yes. And somewhat, kind of somewhat would say a bit, kind of, with a bit of fear, as you very much like to pretty much always try and stay on the good side of the nine-tailed fox. And so he'd enter into the library, and a hour or 2 or 3 later, he'd somewhat come out kind of grumbling someone that, how enough was he going to beat him now? And that kind of, and to which, or at least a few words would be spared, rather than what the fox would simply say that, the fox would say that life, something wasn't fair, and to which Naruto would just agree with being, the first time or that they agreed simply upon something. And yeah, though from there, someone I would tell him to go to the so I want you to go to your training ground, to training ground 7, huh? Why there? Why do you want me to go there? Well, because somewhat I know for a fact, and so do that there's a lake, a lake there. It just throws eyes, and what's a lake got to do with me going to there, and why don't we there? Once you get there, I'll tell you, or don't you want to learn a jutsu from me? You teach me jutsu, yes. Though I may somewhat not teach you it if you don't get your ass on the move. Okay. It says he'd somewhat send shock into his legs, leaping up on top of somewhat of the closest roof and starting to run in the direction towards training ground 7. And yeah, once you'd arrive in training ground 7 and in front of the lake in training ground 7, kind of stand there in front of it as you'd ask what exactly. So now to which she'd go, well, sit down, and Naruto would be, somewhat confused, though he would nevertheless sit down, and so as he'd somewhat blink, and as his eyes would fully shut, so as they'd open again, he'd open them to be in his mind again, and it'd be somewhat stoned, yeah. He'd somewhat just kind of somewhat shake his head. And yeah. Twitch and perceived to somewhat, or at least tell him that, or at least would perceive to somewhat, though now to perceive to kind of walk through these somewhat bars as somewhat as much as seemingly she seemed to somewhat kind of want the freedom, something she has mentioned, many of times. So that she didn't also seem to want to attack him, in other words, in the way kill him, or that. But, well, anyway. Soon, though standing now sort of or at least in the cage beside her, she'd perceive to, or at least she'd go, so this is the jutsu I'm going to teach you. Got it? Hi. I should perceive to just casually bleach through some of the hand signs. Sucking as she'd somewhat perceive to blow out, or at least she'd somewhat say fire style. So, 9-tailed fox. She'd breathe out a similarly, giant, pretty much exactly, 9-tailed fox sized fire, just fire. The so pretty much what her, out size would be, just, out of fire instead. And yeah, now to stars, it just simply run down a bit before those should sort of have those should tell it to go left, or at least would similarly kind of indicate it, and would, or at least would stay, sort, and should then have to start sort at it, and this person should go, and of course another thing is that you can control it. Should go, or should simply just say, go left, it turn left, go right, it turn right, jump. And you jump, and then you should tell it to simply go into the air, to which it would perceive to somewhat go somewhat into the air, and perceive to simply still move like it was on the ground. Though you should somewhat dispel it, to which it would perceive to just explode. And yeah, should perceive to simply do it again. Though this time, should somewhat tell Naruto, or at least somewhat wants you to do it, to which it is a lot smaller, to which should state that this would be about the size that you'd be doing it. That if that, though Naruto would go to somewhat argue, to which you'd say that if you did it any bigger, you'd be killing people. I don't think you exactly want that. Now, do you? To which Naruto would slightly go upon you, no, of course not. yeah. And yeah, from there, she'd somewhat would perceive to show, or at least would perceive to show him the hand sign slowly. And yeah, I mean, somewhat once he got them all down, she'd somewhat tell him to, repeat them up until he could, do somewhat, until, they felt comfortable in that. And yeah, so a few minutes later, once she'd, get them down once they were comfortable to do, she'd somewhat, or at least do, she'd perceive to, or at least, somewhat wake back up, or at least do, somewhat be back in the real world, outside of his mind again. As, though he'd somewhat get up, and, man, no, before, before so much should, or at least leave, or no, before he would leave, she'd somewhat, though deciding to somewhat, or at least kind of test, she'd tell him that or at least that there were five elements, and she'd don't have to go okay, and somewhat, and she'd go now name them for me. Naruto would go, you want me to name them? Yes. You already know them. Just think. Naruto somewhat will and go, fire. As Sasuke and, it's just showing him, and Kurama, or Nine-Tailed Fox. So you'd got fire, somewhat thinking the lake, and that's water. You'd say with a slight question to which you'd sort of nod. You'd somewhat think again as his eyes would somewhat, to which you'd shake your head. You'd go and somewhat try and think even more, to which you'd say, what happened, or at least what would you call when air moves? Wind. You'd somewhat say, to which you'd nod. And yeah, you'd somewhat think when you'd go lightning. Right, to which you'd nod. You'd remember, Kikashi's, senses jutsu Chidori. He couldn't think of the fifth one, and somewhat to which you'd say what he was sitting on, to which he'd say that he was sitting on nothing, he was standing up in his mind, to which you'd just stare at him, and you'd go, oh, he built dirt, to which you'd just shake her head, grasp again, and he'd just be confused. Yeah, to which you'd simply tell him, or at least ask him what the name of the planet was, to which you'd be confused and go, huh? He'd somewhat scratch his head trying to remember, and he'd go, Earth? And to which you'd perceive to somewhat nod, and yeah, and that pretty much dirt, or at least grass, dirt, stone, rock, board, similarly, was somewhat under Earth. And yeah, Naruto would just somewhat nod, and yeah, she'd somewhat, though, just as she'd think about, or at least telling Naruto to leave so they could start, or at least he could start to learn to do it. She'd instead decide that it was probably something about elemental ninjutsu, or not elemental, about elemental affinities, and so of course someone should read, and yeah, she'd stay, and that of course what she'd tell him about, every person or every something was somewhat had an element of affinity, including instead of saying just me, she'd kind of somewhat broadly I would somewhat say even us, or at least even somewhat the beasts. And he'd hear that ass and go, well, there's more than just you. She'd just stare at him. You'd stare at her, and she'd just grumble out, yeah. She'd just go, right you wouldn't know, would you? So it seemed somewhat like, or at least would grumble out stupid, sort kind of humans or that. So it's now to kind of run back for said and he'd go to apologise, though she'd go somewhat, though she'd simply somewhat just tell him that, or at least that's kind of, like the village kept it away, or at least that the higher-ups kept it away from, everyone else. Now to it, kind of, so not at that, to which he'd then ask if he'd suddenly met another one like him, to which he'd say it's in Shirky, and yes, you have. I have, yes, the One-Tails, or at least Shikaku, the One-Tails. Now to hear somewhat noise that and would sort of blink the One-Tails was called Shikaku, which then meant it'd somewhat look at her and she'd look at him and she'd realise, and she'd mentally somewhat mentally cast that she'd call the One-Tails Shikaku. And so now would perceive to sort of ask her if she sort of had a name to it, she'd go, of course I have a name. So just now to go and sort of what positive should state that he didn't somewhat didn't have that privilege to somewhat learn of it. Yeah. It's you just I sort of say. And yeah. Though those should go though it's like that's the saying. Those should of course, say that it was, bodies, somewhat, Gara, and that somewhat that it was part, or at least that, one element of it he was, and that it was possible to be born with more than one, and that he wasn't, that he was just born with one, though he was both two, and that that he was born with sort of wind, and that she'd feel, and that she'd stay that I figured, or at least that she'd be though, and yeah, pretty much, letting it drop that she was also kind of, sealed away inside of his mum. So it's not to be surprising when asked that she, he, at least that, he wasn't the, she wasn't the, or at least he wasn't the, she was, the first time she was sealed away to it, she'd kind of somewhat, she'd state that, he was the third jailer. Yeah, to which she'd somewhat just nod and could understand why she wanted her freedom. And yeah, they talked for, of course, a bit longer before somewhat not to leave. Yeah. Though once he'd sort of get outside of his mind, or at least once he'd leave his mind, she'd sort of tell him that she was going to give him a bit of sort of chakra. So it's not to kind of ask, Wallace would sort of ask kind of why, to which she'd point out that his element was wind, not fire. And that using somewhat that element, he could learn initially what it felt like, what it felt like to use the jutsu, somewhat chakra, and then from there, mold his chakra in a similar way, and that seemed like, any other human, any other human would, it'd take them probably a year or two, to be able to do that. Naruto, a day, a few hours to a day or two. And yeah, hell, if Naruto could learn, the chakras an hour, he could probably learn to do that. To somewhat take, what fire felt like from the, Fox's chakra, and then mold his chakra into, into that similar, the exact same feeling that, built up in his lungs and that, and yeah. And he'd somewhat explain, or at least, and he would somewhat lean, forward as he could feel stronger. To which you'd see, his eyes go, like slitted, and he'd somewhat mentally say that, or at least something that, or at least that it felt like his chest had kind of had suddenly grown, to which he'd somewhat just groan and would go, "Is that all you care about? You simply, like, the first thing you notice is your chest getting bigger? Really? Of all things?" To which he'd grumble in that. He'd sort of his points his age and sort of older, sort of flat, and that in sort of without chakra he had sort of a bump and all, which you just sort of, it's like either half or that. Yeah. Though from there she'd sort of just tell him to somewhat channel chakra sort of into his sort of lungs, and to somewhat make it feel like they were, simply getting sort of hotter, like they were on, like they were getting hot. Or it's like they were something like they were hot or that. Yeah, like baby fire, like they were getting hot and that. And so sort he would, as he'd run through these sort of hand signs, as he'd say, fire style 9-10 fox, as he'd, blow out. Yeah, it'd come like as though the reason why, though he'd managed to get his lungs up to feeling warm, not hot, like Kurama said, but just warm. Yeah, so nothing would really go. A bit of a fire would come out, but it wouldn't last all that long, a few seconds, if not none at all. Yeah, so you do it again and again and again, and 3 hours later, you'd finally be able to do it. And yeah, and so sort of course again, sort of doing it another 3 or so more times. At least about, so you'd learn how to do it 3 more times. When she'd, when she'd pull her chakra back in, and that it could feel self kind of become slightly weaker again, and of course his chest similarly returned to normal, slightly get smaller again. Anyway, and so from there, somewhat you'd proceed to mainly go through the hand signs and would try and sort of do it, which at least like by the end of the day he'd be able to get his lungs up to feeling warm, which while he'd somewhat grumble that he'd do it, and Frank's been trying to tell him that what he was doing was what took potentially somewhat a human years to do. Somewhat some shinobi years to do. And yeah. Anyway, though the next day you'd, of course, by the end of it, would be able to sort of do it, and slowly throughout the sort of week, he'd not only get it down, getting it to the pinnacle, or at least getting it to normal, sort of fire, some nature, but he could almost feel a way like he could get it hotter. Not, dump more chocolate into it to make it bigger and that, but he felt like he could make it hotter. He didn't know why, he just felt like he maybe could. And so he would start to do it after like the 3rd day or so. Yeah. And somewhat so from there it would lead into the sort of 3rd, sort of the pretty much end the somewhat last, well, at least the say Sunday, sort of night, the end of the sort of 3rd week, and then into sort of as you'd do the jutsu, and he'd sworn that he'd seen doing the fox, the 9-toed fox, fire jutsu, that he'd sworn that he'd seen a bit of blue, and even Kurama herself would, someone would believe that she'd seen blue as well, which she did. Then, she went to calculate, she'd figure out what temperature, it'd have to be for fire to turn blue. And that it meant that, and she'd realised that, somewhat, well, hell, by somewhat, or at least, by about the kind of somewhat, by about the 6th day, he'd gotten it down perfectly, the perfect amount of wind to fire. And obviously he was combining both wind and fire. She knew that's what he was doing as he tried to get it hotter and hotter. And she'd, sort of tell him that he'd pretty much learned how to do that. She'd tell him what he'd sort of done. He didn't just, get it hotter, and that he'd actually had, achieved something no other human born without the bloodline limit has ever been able to do. That being to pretty much learn somewhat how to do an elemental, or at least an advanced elemental ninjutsu without the bloodline limit for it. And that he'd learned how to do Scorch Release, that being the combination of fire and wind. And so from there, I have to, sort of believe it. He'd at first a bit confused, about bloodline, why she'd mentioned about bloodline limits, but now I could somewhat slightly understand why that this was simply, a bloodline limit, a farm, a potentially, clan all that had, and he just managed to do it. And sure, it took him, doing the same jutsu over and over and over and over and over and over again, but yeah. And considering, he didn't have, nobody training him, he could just do it constantly up until, it was starting to get late, to where he'd go have dinner, have a quick bath, and then get into bed, where he'd then kind of be taught some either history, maths, or physics, something along those lines. That, or maybe a bit of, sparring with the nighttime fox before personally sending them into a night's sleep. And he always felt, fully recharged and ready for war. Not a fight, but a war. He felt like he could take on the entire, well, maybe not the entire world, but a freaking army. And be honest, in a way he could. With the, the amount of shotguns he could make. Anyway, though. So from there, somebody, spend the last week continuing to do it, and by the end of the last week, he would successfully manage to produce a blue flame, but not it entirely blue. That was still somewhat hard to do. It was still hard to consistently have a blue flame. But what he'd managed to do was do patches of blue flame. And so it pretty much almost looked like it was a normal fox, minus it being red and, mount fire, and it being red and, somewhat red, and, say black orange, fur coat would be, and where it'd be white, it'd be blue fire, and extremely hot, and And so, of course, thus, the next day you'd end up getting up, having, eating breakfast, getting dressed and that, and heading to the arena. And he would sort of arrive, and he'd wonder kind of where Sasuke was, and he kind of hoped for once that Kakashi wouldn't be late. And though as Punch would come out to usher them in, he'd somewhat just let out a sign, and Shikamaru would ask if he'd seen, or at least if he, knew where he seemed, Or at least like, Sasuke was on that, to which Naruto would shake his head, saying that he hadn't seen him since the preliminaries. To he'd go, you didn't bother to check up, somewhat on him, to which he'd, somewhat. Wait, I mean, no. Wait, no, sorry, already around no. Though he'd state that, though the only thing he'd say was that he was, with Kakashi. Yeah. He'd be, he'd somewhat be confused, and he'd look at Naruto and go, then he didn't train you, to which Naruto just somewhat nod his head that he didn't train him, for the month, to which, he'd look at Naruto and kind of a bit shocked in that, he'd been pretty much abandoned for Sasuke, and yeah. Though Naruto just told him to, not worry about him, and that, he trained and they could potentially, beat him. Yeah. Shikamaru just stared at him, and, well, in a way, there was somewhat way he kind of knew somewhat, in a way, deep down, that Naruto could be him. He didn't know why or that, or maybe he just believed that he could, Naruto seemed to be able to do similarly the impossible at times. So, yeah, maybe. And so, somewhat, of course, from there, Proctor would obviously start. After waiting around for a while, they would finally start. And so far, somewhat, the fight would go kind of up, the same up until Neji would start doing, rotation, all that. Well, at least right now, to end up forcing, Neji into doing rotation, to which he'd, keep on, forcing Neji to do that by throwing kunai, and once he ran out of kunai, Shokin, once he ran out of that. So, well, yeah, I just thought Neji would, finally sort of stop, he'd smirk at that, and he'd run towards Naruto. And so it seemed that Naruto would manage to judge it, the distance correctly, as he'd hold up the fox in hand sign. He'd done the jutsu enough times that he didn't need hand signs. Yeah, he could manipulate his chakra, he could mold his chakra into, well, yeah, he'd sort of hold them. So, of course, Neji would just, sort of believe, he's going to do, similarly a clone, 3 clones or that, so he'd keep charging now to something even faster. As learn how to, of course, some breathing expand his lungs to their max, as he'd sort of go he'd somewhat kind of go quietly fire side 9-10 fox, as he'd breathe, as he'd sort of, his hand would go up as he'd breathe out, somewhat at least he'd breathe out somewhat similarly, somewhat small 9-10, of course, fox, but on the fire, though the fire was just normal fire chakra, not scorch release, or what they were somewhat dubbing is hellfire, or at least somewhat hellfire, which was an evolution even more advanced, somewhat nature, or at least, somewhat elemental chakra above scorch release. So went fire, sort of fire, or at least fire chakra, scorch release, and then hellfire, pure blue flame, pretty much. And yeah, and of course Naruto is still somewhat struggling to produce a constant blue flame, as it just, he's still somewhat struggling, though. Anyway, and yeah, though Neji would, of course, perceive to some, sort of dodge it, and, they sort of run, though he'd end up hearing, somebody crowd, or at least he could hear the crowd seemingly talking and that, so he'd activate his Bikugan to see said jutsu that he thought he'd dodge, running after him. So he'd end up, slamming on his brakes and doing rotation, which would hit and blow, he'd hit and, of course, detonate. And yeah, I could sort of see that it by my appearance, but you'd more so hear it, and then look back to see, dust and debris and that. Well, it's mainly dust and that. Though once it started to clear up, you'd see the, ground looked a bit, um, black, scorched, but nothing really else. So from there, as you, go and run, to him again, the it's now to perceive to do the jutsu again, to it's now you'd do rotation again, and you'd keep on simply doing that until a point where you'd end up misjudging the distance, and then you'd manage to get in, though just as Naruto was pretty much, going to sort of lift up his hand to blow out to do the jutsu again, Naruto managed to slam sort of his palm into one of Naruto's chakra points, which had caused the chakra to somewhat, pretty much, not necessarily dispel, but yeah, Naruto and kind of grit his teeth as sort of he'd end up kind of having it, sort of turn into a ball, and would end up kind of accidentally kind of compressing it, and then kind of just, sort of as you hit it out, all kind of happen, indeed, and so sort of as he'd similarly kind of slightly, go to sort of stand backwards as an edge, you'd hit, 4 points, you'd end up pulling his hands back as a ball of pretty much just a small ball of chakra, not of chakra, but of so a small simply fireball, but a blue fireball, and it wasn't scorch release or hellfire, it was just normal chakra. He just had the chakra that he'd built up to do another 9-tailed fox, fire jutsu. So that he'd turn that into a ball and then compress that presumably all down before kind of jacking it kind of all up. Jacking it sort of up, throwing it up. And yeah, kind of seeing that and knowing that that's probably going to get quite explosive due to kind of 70 force. So tell Naruto to get the hell and kind of run, to which you'd send Chakra into his legs, and we'd proceed to go, run, sort of away. Yeah, even using a bit of his own chakra to drive the hell away from it. And yeah, Naji, seeing that getting away from it rapidly, would proceed to do rotation as he was too close. So to it as it proceeded to hit the ground and go boom. And yeah, though I did somewhat very much see the explosion, and would somewhat kind of mentally kind of somewhat slightly out loud ask if he was kind of still alive, to which the fox would sort of tell him that he was indeed, that he is still alive. And yeah, though as the smoke and debris in that would somewhat clear, there would be a small crater, cross scorch marks in the ever, and Neji doing the rotation there, he would sort of stop and somewhat pant as sweat would be coming down his face from just the heat of the from the explosion. And yeah, though due to the fact Kurama did send some of her chakra into into Naruto for him to use to away from it. So it meant that his the 4 chakra points that Neji had managed to shut had managed to, or at least had reopened. So it's somewhat robbed where he was kind of hit. And yeah, from there, fight from there after a few songs would continue until the point of where Naruto would once more starts it again, but this time a bit more seriously, as just as he's about to build up somewhat kind of, chakra, and Neji managed to somewhat shut down his, or at least would manage to block his, his chakra points, his Tenketsu points. And yeah, so Naruto would sort of hit the, floor, and of course Neji would, tell the proctor to come over and, to declare, the match. Of course, the proctor would, though, just before he could speak, Naruto perceived to, of course, get up, and Neji would try and, give his proctor, to obviously say that, he'd won, as, there was no way he could, continue fighting. So it's Naruto would put his fingers together, as, saw Kurama, the second Naruto had they, had them shut, she could have just sent a bit of chakra into them and reopened them, but Naruto didn't exactly want that, and just plus, she wasn't exactly going to do it really nearly now. That'd be helping him seemingly, and she didn't want that now. Yeah. So instead, somewhat he'd, put his hands together as he, seemed to be drawing, and yeah. And so after a bit, started, and yeah, as, he'd sort of, he'd sort of ask for a bit, which she just give him, and of course, it'd, come out as in a chakra cloak. Somewhat as it wrap kind of around him. And yeah, of course, reopening all his, chakra points. And in the end, Neji couldn't believe, his eyes. And of course, from there, Naruto would end up winning kind of liking canon. And yeah, from there, the other fights would also go liking canon. And yeah, of course, when the Genjutsu was, placed on everyone for them to, go to sleep, so the sound invasion could start. Of course, Naruto would end up passing up. Sure, Kurama himself could have sent chakra into, Naruto's, could have, sent chakra into Naruto and, dispel the Genjutsu, but meh. It'd ironically do him a favor by allowing, or at least with him being somewhat asleep, and even for a few seconds, would be enough, as his chakra network would, his chakra would start to rapidly regenerate. And yeah, of course, chakra would end up, dispelling the Genjutsu, waking him up, and from that, of course, they'd end up going up, and the fight with kind of Gaara would kind of go the same up until the point where, Naruto would end up finding, some even more strength and more chakra and that. Yeah, as he'd, though also, or at least before that, just remember, or at least forgot, just remember that I forgot to say something that. Though as the Dasun was somewhat settling from the kind of somewhat, small kind of blue fireball, somewhat, well, yeah, somewhat, they, or at least, because somewhat, or at least seen how Naruto had done it and explained to him how he'd managed to do it. And that, but state that, it was kind of in a way, or at least, any jutsu. And, or at least, that he'd made Simli's own kind of jutsu kind of slightly accidentally, and that he should name it something, to which he'd wonder kind of what to name it, to which he'd, supply, somewhat, hairball, to which he'd state that, the way he seemed to kind of look, that he seemed to almost, kind of throw it up like a cat throws up a hairball. And yeah, the only difference is that, this simply hairball was explosive and fiery. And yeah, and that's the thing, because it's normal chakra, what would the explosion be with, if you use, scorch at least, or if you, could eventually do, say hellfire, constantly, and do, and if you could do hellfire, then just how much bigger, or how much, stronger, bigger the explosion would be in hellfire. And yeah, anyway, going back to present, Naruto and Naruto would go through some of the hand signs as for the and yeah, only no, not hand signs. It perceived to similarly build up, and you could feel his being somewhat being fueled with a drive to be tagged, and that he'd feel his lungs burn hotter than they ever had before, as he'd sort of blow out, doing just focus stock into his lungs, and he'd blow out a perfectly solid blue flaming nine-tailed fox, small, just like the it'd be not really sure how small it'd be. It'd be kind of small. It's like it'd be like the size of a kind of similar, maybe it's like kind of like adult-sized fox. Yeah, about the size of an adult-sized fox. Just nine-tailed fox and solid blue. And yeah, his seemingly drive to protect, and that had caused him not only to find so many more somewhat chakra in that, but also to seemingly complete hellfire, as it'd be a sort, and yeah, of course it would be somewhat bigger as well. It'd be about, say, 3 times the size of an adult-sized fox. So 3 times the normal size of the jutsu as it run towards the Shikaku as it would hit it. And of course, so much Shikaku wouldn't be exactly too pleased, as part of him would turn to molten glass. And yeah, you can believe it, be enraged, and yeah, and so he'd end up pinning Naruto down. Naruto would end up summoning Bunta, and then from there, canon would return to normal. And yeah, so because somewhat from there, after his death, the funeral, he'd end up meeting with Jiraiya. Jiraiya would meet up with him, and that's where I'm going to end this part here, guys. So if you have enjoyed this part, do tell me in the comments down below, and if you want part 2, do say, guys. And yeah, with that, hope you guys have a good day or night, depending on wherever you are and whenever you watch this, and goodbye.